Yeah, welcome to this podcast. I have with me Anup Tiwari. He finished his master's in economics from Gokhale Institute of Politics and Economics. And then he worked as a research assistant for a project which was sponsored by the London School of Economics, International Growth Center. Then he was working at Institute of Economic Growth, a think tank, which is based in Delhi. And after that, he worked at Reserve Bank of India for a period of 2 years, and he was working under Professor Prachi Mishra and in the strategic department of the RBI. Then, prior to that, he had gone on to get his master's in economics and also worked as a research associate at the University of Connecticut. And since his master's, he has been working as a senior consultant at EXL, where he manages a number of projects, client-based projects. Yeah, welcome to this podcast, Anup.
Thanks, Manar.
Yeah, Anup. So, could you, walk us through as to what sort of, projects you manage at EXL in your role? So could you just give us an insight in the sense that what are these different projects and who are the clients and what sort of like what is the objective of the projects? Yes.
Okay. Yeah, sure, Manar. So at EXL, it's a consulting company, and there are a couple of clients on which EXL does provide their services. So one of the big client in the field of analytics is the Citibank, which we also in which in which I am involved in, and
Mm-hmm.
in Citibank, there are around hundreds or more than thousands of EXL employees who assists Citibank in different fields in the field of specifically in the field of analytics to
Mm-hmm.
consult them to provide them services. So
Mm-hmm.
there is one and out of that I am also involved in one of the project.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically the project that I am so I have currently it has been around more than 1.5 year since I have been with EXL,
Mm-hmm.
and since then I have involved in two projects. So in one of the project when I
Mm-hmm.
joined EXL, that project was related to documentation
Mm-hmm.
and getting approval of these documentation of models. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, what Citibank does is they write a model,
Mm-hmm.
and so and they do some analysis. So
Okay.
after they complete some analysis on that,
Uh-huh.
and does the validation of the model, they
Uh-huh.
need they need to document those models to
Uh-huh.
get it satisfied according to the rules and regulation of Reserve Bank of
Uh-huh.
USA, which is federal bank,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also some accounting policies. So what we used to do is whatever the model they prepared, we
Uh-huh.
document them, uh, and then we send it to their regulatory authorities and get an approval. Okay,
Okay.
so that was the one project on which I was involved in, and
Okay.
after working on that project for around 1 year or so, I
Uh-huh.
involved in another project which was
Okay.
related to data consulting. So what kind
Okay.
of consulting I have been involved in? So as a role of manager, I am uh, in my team there are 5 members,
Mm-hmm.
and we are involved in uh, so so in we are involved in couple of activities in
Mm-hmm.
terms of data consulting. So I will give you a very simple example. So
Yes.
suppose uh, you apply for Citibank has tons of, or let's say in terms of India, the
Yes.
Axis Bank has lot of credit card.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
they give the credit card, and people you make use of those credit card, uh, make purchases and do different stuffs. And
Yes.
at the end of every month, when the statement generate, they
Uh-huh.
have to pay some specific payment or minimum payment of that particular statement. Okay, but there are some customers who would not be able to pay at least the minimum payment, or they don't pay anything.
Okay.
Okay, so what we do is, let's suppose Axis Bank would have uh, uh, or the credit card payment of Axis Bank for this December month is somewhere around, let's say, 80 million. Okay,
Okay.
so, and out of 80 million,
Mhm.
only 20 million $20 million has been received. 60 million has not been received.
Okay.
Okay, so now for that loss, because
Uh,
60 million has not been received,
uh,
Axis Bank has to keep reserve for that.
okay.
So this is what we do. We help Citibank to
O-
calculate that particular amount of reserve. That if this is the loss, then
Okay.
there is some particular amount
Okay.
which we need to keep as a reserve, so that if this loss will occur in future, in next month or so, we should have a certain specific amount, so that there will not be a run on the bank,
Yes.
and bank would not get default.
Yeah. Technically,
Okay,
what you are doing is estimating the amount of reserves,
exactly,
right?
exactly. Yeah, and there are different parameters which we take care of, like macroeconomic conditions, right? Because in USA and also in India, there are several, I would say, there are a lot of people. Okay, so we
Okay.
cannot estimate analysis at at a people individual level. So what
Okay.
we do, we take into consideration the macroeconomic scenarios, like the COVID scenario. Okay,
Okay.
like if unemployment would increase or decrease, how much reserve we have to
Okay.
keep.
Okay.
If there would be COVID, then how much reserve we have to keep. If there would be economic scenarios, then how much reserve we have to keep.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the kind of data consulting, I would say, or estimation that we do for Citibank, and we
Hmm.
provide them an estimate for the reserve. So this is what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you've mentioned, in the first project that you actually, build a model and then the model is validated by, you all sending it to the regulatory authority in the US, right? And
Oh yes.
in the other project, you sort of, give a insight in how you go about estimating, the amount of reserve. So boiling, both of these down into what you all are doing is nothing but the application of data science toolkit. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Right.
You know, everything is data related in this
Yes.
time, and I must say that the effort that you have put in into developing your this academy,
Yes.
and this is really good effort, because people should know about data,
Yes.
right? Everything is data related in this
Yes.
world, I would say. Everything is data driven. Yep.
So, Anu, now given that you have had extensive experience, working, let's say, both in, academia, working at RBI under Professor Prachi Mishra, she is now at IMF, and also like, going abroad to get your master's from University of Connecticut in, working under professors there as research associates. And now that you have been working at EXL and handling clients from US. So in terms of your experience and knowledge, would you argue that the most widely used technique is linear regression across both industry and academia, or are there other models also which are used? And if they are used, like if you can just tell us about those models also. Yes or no? Both.
Sure, Manal.
Yes.
Yeah. So linear regression, I would say, is the base of all the models,
Yes.
right? So whatever model you use,
Yes.
whether it's a very technical model or whether it's a very simple model, the
Yes.
base is the linear regression model,
Yes.
right? So whatever analysis that I used to do in academia,
Yes.
The first thing I used to do is to run a linear regression just to show whether how the linear regression output is showing the result, and
Okay.
thereafter we go ahead and move to some advanced technique.
So can you give
Uh,
one example of, let's say, any project you were, working when you were, working as research associate at RBI, like a loose sort of an explanation of that project and
sure.
database. Yeah.
Sure. So let me give you an example. I worked on a project in RBI that was related to demonetization.
Okay.
Okay, so I was there at RBI when the demonetization happened in 2018.
Yes.
2000, yeah, I think 16 or 18, I forgot, but somewhere around that. Okay,
Yes.
so what happened? So what I did is,
Yes.
before and after the demonetization,
Uh-huh.
first I ran a simple regression just to see that how much amount how much whether there is an increase in amount on digital transaction or not before and
Okay.
after demonetization. I
Okay.
used a linear regression for that.
Mm-hmm.
First, when I got some decent results, that
Mm-hmm.
yes, I do see an increase in uh, um, transaction in digital payments.
Yes.
Thereafter, I used a difference in difference model,
Okay.
right, which is an advanced technique of
Yes.
linear regression.
Yes.
Okay, so what difference in difference does basically, it calculates the results before demonetization and calculate the results after demonetization, and
Yes.
if the results after and the difference between the results after and before demonetization is positive, then
Yes.
we can say that there is an increase in digital payments after demonetization. Okay,
Okay.
so obviously my base first, whenever I do a calculation,
Mm-hmm.
my base first is running a linear regression, and thereafter do the difference in difference or some advanced technique which on which the model on which uh, the research question is fit for.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
yeah, in that case it was difference in difference model. In some other case it would be different model.
Yes. Yes. So any other
Am I
project
right?
now, let's say, um, in industry where that linear regression is like widely used, uh, you know, uh,
Oh yes. So in credit card industry, so I have not used it,
yes,
but this is what I have heard since I have been to the field of analytics in corporate.
yes,
Uh, so in terms of data consulting, there are two methods that use. One is linear regression,
yes,
and one is specifically in terms of prediction
yes,
is the logistic regression.
yes, yes,
Because the logistic regression, so linear regression would say how
yes,
your initial results would look like, and
yes,
logistic regression would predict that
yes,
whether this customer would get default
yes,
on paying the credit card bills in sometime near future or not.
yes, exactly.
Okay, and this is, and this is what these banks are also doing. Like I should give you an example on that. So
Yes,
I have applied for a credit card, no, not
yes,
but for home loan.
yes,
Okay, and I have applied for home loan. So what uh, this banks would do is they would look at my past records on my CIBIL score in India and US is FICO score,
okay,
and then how my score has increased or decreased in past,
okay,
and they will also look at my income
okay,
and my credit card payments. Okay,
okay,
and thereafter uh, what they do, they make a prediction. They do run some logistic regression and linear regression, and they
uh-huh,
make a prediction whether this guy is going to pay or will be able to pay the home loan
okay,
of, let's say, 35 lakh, or I would say in US dollar it would be somewhere around uh, 1 million or so,
mhm,
in sometime near future or not,
mhm,
basis on my CIBIL and FICO score.
okay,
Okay, and this is how, and through this technique, this
uh-huh,
linear regression and logistic, they
uh-huh,
will get an estimate that whether I will be able to pay the loan in future or not. And if they get a decent response based on my historical data, then
yes,
obviously they will sanction my loan and they will approve my loan and they will give me the loan. So this is how we
yes,
also do, right? Not I do, but in analytics
yes,
and in terms of data analytics,
Yes.
The prediction, this is how the prediction would go for. Use the
Yes.
linear regression and thereafter use the logistic regression.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Logistic regression is widely used when the decision is binary, whether to go for a.
Exactly. Yes, you are right. When the
Mhm.
decision is binary, logistic regression is used, and there are obviously some advanced form of logistic regression, which I have not gone through because I have not used it.
Yes.
But it depends upon projects to projects and questions to question, and yeah, and decision to decisions.
Okay.
Okay.
Do,
Yeah.
do you have in mind any other example, where let's say, logistic regression is used apart from,
Uh, yeah. So this is related to bank.
yeah,
I can also give you an example which is related to, uh, let's say, in development economics.
okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So in development economics, as far as I recall, when I was in academia,
Mm-hmm.
there was a research paper
Mm-hmm.
in which what they did is they predicted whether
Mm-hmm.
the rainfall will have
Mm-hmm.
impact on student uh, education or not.
Okay.
Okay, that was a very good study and that got published in a very good journal.
Okay.
Okay, so what happened in, so what that guy did is, so their decision variable is whether the education, whether the student, there will be an impact on education
Okay.
because of the rainfall.
Okay.
Okay, and there was this study, they did an experiment in rural areas of India,
Mm-hmm.
and they collected the data for rainfall, they collected the household level data,
Mm-hmm.
and regarding the income of an household, number of
Mm-hmm.
member in a household,
Mm-hmm.
agriculture land, because most of the people
Mm-hmm.
would depend upon agriculture fields,
Mm-hmm.
and whether they are working in cities, how
Mm-hmm.
far they are located from city. So all
Mm-hmm.
those different kind of characteristics, they collected data,
Mm-hmm.
and they applied the logistic regression on that, and
Mm-hmm.
said that if there will be a rain in near future,
Mm-hmm.
given all of the other characteristics,
Mm-hmm.
then a student might not go to the school. And the reason so there was some mathematics behind it. Okay,
Uh-huh.
but the subjective decision that they have provided,
Uh-huh.
or I would say the subjective reason that they provided, is because the increase in rainfall means the higher agriculture productivity,
Uh-huh.
and because of higher agriculture productivity,
Uh-huh.
the household has to involve the child onto the agriculture field, so that's why they don't go to school.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, and there were some other minor reasons that they provided, which I would say uh, 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 could be because in rural areas the roads were not constructed well, and that's why
Okay.
they could not go to school.
Okay.
And there are some other reasons that they provided, but the main reason was that higher
Okay.
increase in rainfall, they have to household has to involve their child into the field, so
Yes.
that's why they won't go to school.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so this is, I think I read it around 5 or 6 years before
Yes.
about this paper, but it was a good paper. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds very interesting, actually. So, uh, most of the decisions in the industry is binary. So you use, logistic regression, but there are instances when, let's say, the dependent variable can, have like more than two outcomes. So in that case, multinomial logistic regression is used, correct? Yeah, Anup?
Yeah, yes, Manar, you are right. You are right.
Yes, yes.
You are right.
So yes, yeah, Anup. So now, given that you are working as manager at EXL, and you have first-hand, you know, experience of dealing with clients, and also managing people under yourself. So how important is, acquiring, these skill set going forward, given that the labor market, is going to change, drastically. Like it will be more in favor of those who have these skill sets, right? Who know how to model, something. And another related aspect of this is that you also need to have business domain knowledge, correct? But the business domain knowledge is something you gradually, acquire over a period of time. Is that correct, Anu?
Yes, yes, Manar, you are right.
So yeah, so given that, how important you think it is, especially let's say EXL, like how important, like are these skills important for, getting, let's say, a data analyst job at EXL, or let's say at any other analytics firm, Anup?
Yeah, so Manar, at the initial level,
Yes,
people should know about this data. Obviously, when they come just after their bachelor's degree,
yes,
okay, or just a master degree,
yes,
so they should know about the techniques or the softwares like SAS, MATLAB, R, Python. So these
yes,
are the mostly used tools or in corporate.
yes,
Okay, so within that, they should not only just know about this technique,
yes,
like how to use it, but they
mhm,
should know about the meaning of that, right?
yes,
So
yes,
everybody can figure out how to run the linear regression by just looking at the codes from online,
yes,
okay,
yes,
but then in order to know the economic meaning behind it, that is very important. So you would see a
yes,
lot of people who
yes,
have joined this field
yes,
by just knowing about like how to run a linear regression model. But I have taken lots of interview in
yes,
which people are from IIT. They
yes.
know about running a linear regression model, but they do not know the economic meaning behind it. So that's why I
Basically,
said
the
that
challenge is to understand the problem first.
exactly.
To
So
understand
once they
the,
understand,
yeah,
yeah. So this is what I have been. I told to my juniors, and I have been telling to my friends as well
yes,
that running a linear regression is very easy, but
yes,
knowing the meaning behind it, it's a challenge, right? So you should
yes,
know the economics meaning behind it, and that's why I told you that the initiative that we have taken, it's really good, it's
yes,
really
yes.
good,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
I wish you luck for that. That
Thank you.
hopefully sometime this will go in a vast form,
Yes, yes.
right? Yeah,
Because
great.
the point is, our economy is going to be the third largest by the end of this decade. So there will be commensurate increase in business, and that will mean, you know, commensurate increase in data that, businesses handle, right? So, so there will be a lot of demand for this kind of, skills. So from the supply side, it is important that, people understand that these are the skill sets you need, because the labor market is no longer the labor market it was 20-25 years back, right? It's
Exactly. Yeah.
more important to have those skill sets and then not worry about the opportunity, when I will get it. Just prepare yourself, and then, you will have the right opportunity, coming your way. It's more about, understanding the modeling, the reasoning, and then also understanding the technicalities of the model. Because linear regression, there are so many overfitting, underfitting is one major problem, right? In linear regression, you don't want to
Yes,
overfit
yes.
your model, right? And you also don't want to underfit your model. And then there are other, diagnostic, problems which you need to know when you, run a linear regression. Any other point, Anup, you think you should add? I mean, you can add here apart from that.
No, Manhar, just the same point, like I told you, like this is, and you also spoke about it, that this is a growing field,
Yes,
right? And you would see uh, artificial intelligence almost everywhere, somewhere
yes,
around 10
yes,
years or 20 years. But you
yes,
won't see artificial intelligence in the data science,
yes,
because applying a mind on
yes,
the models is very important. Data
yes,
artificial intelligence can just simply run the models for you,
yes,
Okay, the software runs the model whatever you instruct them to run, but
Exactly.
you have to one has to apply their own mind onto building a model, coming up with a specific model,
Yes.
and coming up with a reasoning on that,
Yeah, that
right?
reasoning
So
only happens when you can, connect the dots. Because connecting the dots is very important, right? That is,
exactly,
yeah,
yes,
that
yes.
is where your
Mhm.
understanding of the businesses, come into the foray. Any other point, Anup? Any last point you would like to, make it?
No, Manhar, I think that's all. But I must say that the initiative that you have put in developing this academy is really good, and
Yeah,
I wish you luck for that.
thank
And
you.
hope to see you soon.
Yes,
It's been around, I would say, couple of years. I remember we met in March 2018, so
yes,
it's been
yes,
around 4 to 5 years.
yes.
So I would be happy to see you sometime soon.
Yeah, yeah, thank you, Anup. I will, might also invite you for, the career guidance session if, once I have the students, joining, right? They would need some talk from industry experts. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Anup, then so much.
Sure.
Uh,
Thank you so much, Manar.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, wish you luck. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Bye.